This is for Straitisthegate women. So with fulfilling the royal law, you'll hear like, make sure you're not ticking a box. Make sure you're not just fulfilling the royal law because you have to. But that's the thing, like we need to have a balance, and we need to like, what it comes down to is having the right heart posture. So it's like, in a way, you do have to tick a box because you work 6 days, then you rest on the 7th, you rest on Sabbath. Sabbath is your rest from fulfilling the royal law, but then you have the key of David, so that if you have to fulfill the royal law, like something comes up, you have to rebuke someone, you come across a post, like you're not going to go out looking for rebukes on that day, but it makes you blameless on that day. But, and you know, we also have the week rest for women, you know, being out of the camp on your period or whatever. But we're supposed to be fulfilling the royal law daily. It's the daily sacrifice of communication. So that includes like, there's a whole list of things, but you know, rebuking people online, talking to people you know that are Christians, whatever, making videos, speaking to other sisters, like speaking off from one to another is part of the royal law, because the servants of God are speaking off from one to another. That's Malachi 3:16. It could be making cards, like talking to people in person, giving out cards in person, putting up flyers. Like there's many ways to do it, but you have to be fulfilling the royal law every single day, except for when you have a rest time, and the Sabbath. So, you know, because sometimes I drive myself a bit nuts. It's like, oh, I'm ticking a box, but I'm like, instead of worrying like, you know, oh, I have to fulfill the royal law, but then it feels like I'm ticking a box. Just go back to heart posture, check yourself. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you were told by someone else to do it? Are you doing it because it's what you're supposed to do? Or do you actually care about those people? Do you care about people knowing the truth, people being saved from great tribulation and hell from you telling them the truth and correcting them? Do you care about filling the kingdom with people? That's like the objective. We seek the kingdom, we seek God's people. So like, as long as your heart posture is right, then technically, yes, you're going to be ticking the box every day. But ticking a box as in just doing it because you have to, out of obligation, but you don't really give a shit about the people that you're rebuking, correcting, making videos for, then that's not good, and it's easy to get complacent. So that's why you have to check yourself every day. That's why you have to have like, we have to pray like, according to, I think it's, Psalm 51, I think, and I always get these wrong. But there's a few verses, a few chapters where it talks about like praying for a new heart and praying for God to reveal hidden sins. So, you know, if there's anything in you that is like causing you to not fulfill the royal law or to do it out of the wrong heart posture, then you can pray to be corrected on that. And, you know, you might not really care that much. And instead of like, you have to care because you have to love others as yourself. So as much as you care about, oh shit, I don't want to go to hell, I better make sure I'm obeying God and, you know, doing what I have to do, you should care about others the same way. And you might not have that. And personally, and you know, like most people know Andrew's story, he didn't have that. He had to pray for a burden for souls. And for him personally, he woke up after praying that prayer the next day and saw the world completely different. He had a huge burden for souls ever since then. But for me personally and other people, it can be a daily thing. And I think there's a reason for that, so that I make sure I'm relying on Yah and not my own strength, because that's one of my issues. But yeah, I have to pray for it, if not every day, then very often, because it's, yeah, you know, sometimes you're worrying about your own stuff in your head too much, but it's like you have to make sure that you care enough about other people. And I have to do that because I get stuck in my own head. I have like, we all have our own things, and you can become a little bit too internalized. But that's the thing. We need to be making sure we're doing what we need to do, and we'll be fine. It's looking out and like looking at others. How can we help share the truth with others, help others, know the truth so that they can be saved too. Most of the stuff you'll know anyway, but it's like, yes, tick the box, but with the right heart posture, because otherwise you'll be like, oh, well, I'm not convicted to fulfill the royal law. Like, I'm not saying don't take a rest when you need it, but don't become complacent. Don't take like weeks off because like, oh, well, I don't feel like it. Oh, I've got my own stuff going on. Like, it's a daily sacrifice. There's always going to be stuff going on. Think about all the prophets and the disciples that had to go and fulfill the royal law while being like physically persecuted to the point of being cut in half and like burnt alive and all these horrible things. And coming down the pipeline, some of us are going to be killed for righteousness' sake, for fulfilling the royal law, for proclaiming Jehovah's name and Yeshua's name. But yeah, like, and think about it in the sense, we have all these, everything's very easy to do. We have everything set up for us. We're in the most convenient time in the world. We still have struggles, but just look outside yourself and pray for a burden for souls if you don't have it. Don't be prideful about that. Don't think, oh, well, I don't, and blah, blah, blah. Just, if you don't, admit it. Even if you have to admit it to someone else. Because you have to do with this with right heart posture, or it's, or what's the point? I was going to make a separate video about this, but it actually ties in, I just realized. And I was going to talk about Mary and Martha. So I guess I'll just come out and be like blunt about it. But one of the brothers that recently fell was talking to me, and my understanding was like, I was condemning myself for, working to make videos often, if not like daily. And, we have to make sure, just like I said before, it's from the right heart posture, not like, oh, I just have to do this. Because like, if you put too much pressure on it, it's too organized, it's just like, you're relying on your own strength. And you need to allow Yah to speak through you. Like, you need to allow him to bring things to remembrance, to be able to prophesy from the Spirit. Like, but yeah, so, an example of Martha and Mary. We have the literal sense. So you might be spending all day cleaning, doing random errands, filling your time doing stuff. That's not, like, we have to do housework, but if you're spending all your time doing it just to keep busy, and there's no time left to fulfill the royal law, that's like a physical example of being a Martha. You're not sitting at Yeshua's feet. You're not being in the Word. You're not becoming sanctified. You're not, that kind of thing. So, but in the spiritual sense, because this brother was going on about the spiritual and sounding a little bit Gnostic, I now realize, and praise Yah for his conviction and discernment and the help of other brothers and sisters. But so I was like, oh, worrying that I was making videos in a way that was like you know, that it was maybe bad to try and make a video every day. And I was like, oh no, I'm a Martha because and this is something that he said, you know, make sure you're not working for your own salvation. But then what do we know that is? Working for your own salvation, your own works, is like, you know, going out and do charity, like the Christian version of being a good person, or trying to keep sacrificial law, trying to do the feast, you know, all that stuff on the left and the right. But we know that the good works ordained of God is to fulfill the royal law. So no, my own works is not fulfilling the royal law. And I don't know, I think I would just put it out there. I don't know if he was talking to anyone else. Well, I only know of one other person, but praise God, she wasn't deceived. But just in any case, like in case something similar happens in the future, which it probably will. But yeah, it's like, I thought I was being a Martha for fulfilling the royal law as if that was works of my own strength. But then, you know, there is that balance, like not relying on yourself, like, oh, I have to know all these scriptures and blah, blah, blah. I have to make sure I read that. And then that, like being a perfectionist, trying to get it all together. You're not allowing room for Yah to speak through you because he's going to take over sometimes to speak to the people. And that's the thing. All the knowledge you have, all the wisdom you have is not of yourself. It's not like, oh, it's all in there and I have to bring it out. Like, it's given to you of Yah. So let him bring it out and speak to the people. And if you've been reading, if you've been sanctified, you're rooted in the word, the things you know, the things you have learnt and read, he'll bring them to remembrance. Even if it's like vaguely, and you might have to look up the exact location in the Bible. You know, that's something as well. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just saying this out loud. Because maybe it's similar for someone else. What else? Martha and Mary. But yeah, I guess in that sense, a Martha could be, yeah, someone that's fulfilling the royal law for sport, just to tick a box without the right heart posture, because they're scared to get in trouble, or they want to be, I mean, it ties into a section of Isaiah 3 as well, like to be seen of men, to be looked at a certain way. Yeah, fulfilling the royal law is not for you, it's for the lost sheep. What else? Yeah, but Mary's the one sanctified in the word, reading the word every day, praying every day, something I gotta get better at. Speaking often one another to her sisters and brothers, and yeah, what do you think sitting at Yeshua's feet is? Is it not being in the word? Is it not going out and walking as Yeshua walked? Like, don't get led away by all that Gnostic, vague, airy-fairy crap. It's of the devil. And yeah, just stay vigilant. Make sure you're reading. And, you know, if you're busy, when you have a spare moment, read, pray. Like, just, it sounds so obvious and like, I should, yeah, you know, but sometimes like it's like remembering those simple things. But yeah, and don't, I mean, obviously don't be a lone wolf. Don't, I don't know, speak often one to another. Know the word so that you can discern when someone is speaking against it, and you know the truth. So don't let someone bring a whole brand new doctrine and you say, oh, well, yeah, maybe, that makes sense. But does it go against what's already been established as the truth? You know the Straitisthegate is the truth. You've tested it. Well, I pray that you are testing it. Everything you've learned, or you're learning, make sure you read the scriptures that have been mentioned. Make sure it's accurate, because the danger of trusting just men, that's why people get led away in the churches. It's the same thing. So just make sure you're checking with the word. You're searching everything out for yourself. You're checking everything with what else? But yeah, you've prayed about it. You are searching. This is the truth. By the fact that, well, just so many things, like this group are the only one that teaches the royal law, the refreshing, the key of David, that receive meat in due season, that actually read their Bible every day, that teach the truth of this Bible. But yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know. It's probably just a ramble, but I pray that maybe that helps someone out there.